But I digress. This is Manhattan, and since I've got Dr. Kennedy, the story is going to change up a little bit tonight. And since it is an open world, we can make room for this. When we last left off, and for Dr. Kennedy's sake, Joel had been on quite a little bit of an adventure that started out with being lured by a fake little kid down to a house that tried to eat her, and then was saved by a faction known as Mandate and an odd group, Temple, Cinnamon, and Blue. But then they were swarmed by some attacking marauders and overwhelmed by these. They looked like men, but they moved fast, and they were kind of dark and messed up once they got within, visual distance.
And they tried to eat your soul.
Yeah, and when they destroy you, they pretty much tear you to shreds momentarily, like piranha. And if you happen to get one of them, its soul will try to take your body, which is why they are as messed up as they are and wrapped up, because it is some other body that this thing has occupied. Joel was fortunate enough to fend off one or more. We alluded to more, but she actually did the battle with one, survived it, and then escaping the situation that grew more and more dire, she dove through a window in a building that was an actual multi-portal doorway to many different places. And her crashing through the window landed her in a prison cell in Inferno, where she met Blythe, who was kept down in that prison cell and occasionally taken up to the surface, which is not Inferno in that particular location, and used and abused as normal in Manhattan, along with, in this version, several other toys that he keeps, dolls, I should say, on hand. So Blythe was one of several, although his favorite at the time. But Joel helped her escape, having crashed through the window from one direction, really messed that up, and then they leapt back through. However, street level at the dungeon was basically street level in Inferno. And they were luckily waved across this big freeway-sized street to a doorway slightly off to the side and brought into safety by a odd man named Thomas, although they insisted on calling him Tom.
He also insisted we call him Tom. He wanted to be our friend.
By the end, he was Tom and Blythe was his friend. That was set up. And he gave them a map, and their way back to Manhattan was going to have to be either a long way overland through Inferno or a shorter way through the underworld. And they would have to then slide down Tom's poop chute, as that was just a big giant hole that led to the underworld. And he pooped in it because that's what he did.
Not happy.
The story of Joel and her underworld adventures with Blythe, we are going to tell a different day. We will skip a chapter.
Out of the poop chute.
Yeah, and we'll come back to that. I don't know what we'll do with that. We may make something out of it.
Hashtag skip the shoot.
Skip the chute.
Yes, we're skipping the shoot. This is a shoot. And I'm going to talk for just a little bit longer, and I'm sorry that this is going on for so long, but also, again, going to kind of set up where the world is today, because I didn't really do a good a job for this for Joel. And just as a reminder, because people are going to be kind of weirded out about this, and luckily there's a new how-to video releasing tomorrow that will give you a hint on it, and then another series after that, as this is from the new source book, Beyond Darkness and Madness, in the chapter called Gods and Monsters. So this is technically a KULT variant, house rules version, so to speak. There are several different variants in that book. I recommend all of them. Everything from just a solid slasher version to actual, I think they called it the afternoon something where you play kids. It's not for kids, it's where you play kids in KULT. So yeah, there's a few adjustments there. But lots of cool stuff. But one of them is Gods and Monsters, which sets up sort of a magical realism, as I have alluded to with Mandate, the faction, and these interesting people that she met, and just sort of how things are a little bit more open and going from place to place. The actual history involves Dr. Kennedy. And I'll have a few questions for him at the end, just to see how some of this played out. But as we all know, Dr. Kennedy for a long time has had some theories about this illusion and has been researching, trying to break through, find doorways, etc., etc. And in the process of doing that, he was the discoverer, we shall say, of the illusion, which is like the press term, right? When the headlines started to fly about, because this leaked out, everything became strange. It started to change people's worldviews. And then some of those oddities began to bleed into our world. And after a period of time, a few years, it's still relatively new, just we'll say less than 5 years. It's 1989 too. Dr. Kennedy, just so you know, this is right at basically, or slightly before when we started my first attempt at this game, which they may sort of be linked. You never know. I may Star Trek this thing and you may be mirrored off. Who knows? So it's the same time frame. Your research broke a little bit earlier, perhaps, and this illusion was revealed. It has changed the worldview. The archons in Gods and Monsters have a much more direct influence on everything. And so all of those influences have amplified certain things in society. Religions have changed, but they didn't go away, where one might think that this proves that there is no God. They think it actually proves that some of these things are God. Not necessarily the archons. There's all sorts of variations of that particular concept, but it goes all the way up to Catholics and Christianity, all of the major Judaic religions and beyond. And the laws, the police are much more severe. All of that sort of stuff is amplified. And it is not unusual to see certain oddities on the street, more the normal monster types. There are vampires. We actually had those in season 1. Sasha went and made a deal with some to help out in a particular battle. I'm not going to throw orc cops in, but that sort of stuff. Ghosts, this explains the ghosts. This explains a lot of these things that cryptids and, all of these things that we've been alluding to throughout our whole life. Dr. Kennedy, the thing that hasn't been discovered yet is the darker side of that, the meta lictors who can shapeshift and hold position. You think that sort of thing is going on, but that sort of thing hasn't been exposed. There hasn't been a scandal or anything like that. But the obvious change in society is palpable and becoming normal. There are still worlds that have not been discovered. There are still strange and dark, terrible things that people don't realize because once they've accepted the illusion is real, that initial intent of dumbing down humanity worked even more so. That this whole effect sort of like explained so much stuff for them that they just all kind of stopped asking questions. So there are a few who actually go out and fight against systems and look for information and hunt down clues. So in the initial response to this discovery, there would have been quite a bit of hype. My question to you is, how did you handle it at first? And did you stick with it, or did you try to get in and out of it, i.e. the fame? Tell us about what that did to you, how that changed you, how that makes you today.
Well, the scientist's work is never done. So, of course, I would have continued my research.
You do interviews?
Well, naturally, people are going to want information about these new and interesting fields as they become more prevalent.
If you got an invitation to go to the Oscars, would you go?
It's an important topic that would need as vast an audience as possible, of course.
Okay. But still focused on your research.
Naturally. And of course, the funding that would come with that.
Have you hired anybody to assist you? Anybody who's everybody in that world would have tried in one version or another to somehow either work with you, ride your coattails. Maybe they were legitimately thinking that they could make a difference.
Did you get him?
I think I
Did
got
you
it.
get him?
Curse back. This fly.
Fuck that fly.
See, that's the kind of gumption I look for in my teammates.
Oh my god, I miss Dr. K so much. Out there hunting for shrimp at the Oscars.
Oh, you best know he got a full cocktail bowl.
I have the shrimp clip. I love that clip. What is your opinion on the almost fascist setup? That's almost kind of like it's pretty authoritarian. The government these days, they still feign freedom, right? But disappearances and things like that are not uncommon.
There are a lot of problems with the way that many decisions are made, of course, at many different levels in not just local and state governments, but at the federal level, especially. There's a great many interesting questions that are being bandied about in certain circles of academic thought regarding the implications of such a sudden discovery of such monumental knowledge. And I think that at the center of those circles, the deeper, darker question is of the nature, the motivation, and of what we can see of the things that have come about from revealing the illusion. For the people that are paying attention, is what isn't being seen.
For the people who are paying attention.
Well, anti illusionists still exist. People are always dumber than we thought they were.
Joel,
Yeah, what's up?
I'm giving everybody these opportunities to tweak little things about their character if they wanted to. And I'm going to offer you the same thing too. And I still got to, damn it.
Damn it. I love
We still have
you.
a advantage, disadvantage to sort out, don't we?
Yeah, I took the advantage. You said you'd figure out the disadvantage at some
Right.
point.
Of course.
I did my part.
What advantage did you pick?
I picked Code of Honor.
Oh, yes. Okay. I remember. It's probably on your sheet. I should look.
It just doesn't have a thingy on it. It's just
Right.
number 4.
Oh, I can actually link you that card.
That's okay. I have it pulled up.
Oh,
I have the card.
do you see it?
I have the card in my hand. I
Oh,
just went
cool.
and found it. No big
Nice.
deal.
The trip through the underworld took a couple of weeks. It's kind of cool because you can actually make something up now and then backtrack it in the story later if you want and justify it some other time. I'm totally cool with that. It's because I'm just going to ask you, you did go through the underworld. It is going to be a harrowing experience. There are things down there and she is down there. So that's just to scare you just a smidge. You will have discovered some things and especially with, you're not the broken. That was Sasha.
Nope. I'm not that bitch.
But anyhow, it has an opportunity to change you. It could make you more Joel, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? If you wanted to go that route, or you could give yourself an extra flaw or something like that. It's totally up to you. But considering the way the world is now, your knowledge of your parents' killers and the factional atmosphere of Mandate and Dr. Kennedy's discovery of the illusion, which you are loosely connected in that you are friends with Sasha. And at some point when all of that broke, Sasha would have said, oh, that's the, you know what I mean? Or maybe he didn't. I'm not sure how that story happened. Maybe we'll play that out. But there's the dynamic there, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and in a way, a connection. If you, for some chance, decided that you wanted to go visit this person for any particular reason, you have an icebreaker.
I definitely would probably I'm sure Sasha has a little black book someplace. I probably would have peeked my head in there the first time he would upsettingly or highly been like, oh, Dr. Kennedy, and mumbled through something while he's tripping balls. And I would just sneak and find his little black book
Ernie.
Someplace. Yeah.
It's exactly what he would say. Fucking
Ernie.
Yes.
So I would be like, oh, who's this Ernie bitch? And I would go look for the black book and then would be like, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make you roll something.
Oh, already? Wow. Right out the gate. What do you want me to roll?
I want you to investigate.
I'm
looking
to
for the
invest.
book.
I have to look for the damn book. I'm not very observant these days. Can I find the book? Can I find the book? I can't find the book. Apparently, finding books are hard.
Look at that. Great big failure.
Also, by the way, I don't have a page.
There's no page. There is no page, no phone number. Try again later.
I can't even hit it. It's like a lethargic fly, and I can't hit the damn thing.
The little boof that came out of the mic.
I got it that time. Sorry, everybody. That
was
fly
like
had to die.
That was out of like a Charlie Chaplin movie, just like doing.
Curtis commits insecticide live. That's right. I said insecticide.
Take that, vegans.
Wow.
Doesn't even make any sense, though.
No.
Yes,
Oh,
because they
no.
eat flies. Oh, wait, no, those are frogs. Sorry, I get vegans and frogs confused. I'm just teasing.
Oh no, we have to stop. I'm gonna cry.
This is Curtis's Cult Horror Games, ladies and gentlemen. Live without a net.
Okay, so I failed trying to find the little black book.
Yeah, okay, well, that didn't change anything. I was going to see if you might have found something. You did not find it. You can have whatever information you were looking for in regards to Dr. Kennedy if you wanted it. But my question is, and this, you have this fact as well. The situation with the newscaster that you have a death wish for, that hasn't gone away.
No.
And however, when you investigated that situation, you found out that it is definitely part of some sort of power structure and heavily fortified. It's not like you can just stroll into the building there at Fox News and stroll up to the 15th floor and blast this guy in his office.
I did have grenades.
I mean, you could, but it's going to be much more complicated than that.
I had grenades. Damn it, I wasted them.
Oh, what are you going to do with a grenade?
I don't think I'll blow the building open, but quiet approaches are fine too, I guess.
Yeah, that's one way. I don't know if I would recommend that particular version or method, but hey, Joel, you roll with whatever you want to roll with.
Well, I suppose.
But that's that particular situation. So my question then is that I eventually get to is, how have you changed, and how do you take in this whole situation, and what are you going to do?
Well, from being in the underground for so long and taking care of Blythe and like kind of being the big sister in a sense, even though I'm only a year older, which we found out. I think she's more motherly, like a little softer around the edges, but she can still be a pretty big hard ass at the same time. But there is a little bit of like childlike wonder that's come back with being around Blythe, who's so doughy-eyed, I guess is how you would say that.
Right.
So there's a little bit more of like an ornery streak in her, but there definitely still is that murderous intent behind the eyes that sets people off. And then finding out everything that's happening in the world after being shoved down there in the deep dark, probably would be looking for some ways to get in. And then I need some form of connection to get into this newsroom. And unfortunately, the only famous-ish person that I'm even aware of or have a general contact for apparently, from this book I've stumbled upon that Sasha totally did not give me any hints to, is apparently this Ernie guy. And after a quick scan through some newspapers and seeing the Oscars on a VHS.
God damn it.
Sasha had a Betamax copy of the Oscars from 1983.
Of course he did.
Heck yeah. Then I suppose I should be looking up this Ernie folk and figure out if he can help me get into the newsroom, or at least give me some insight into why everything's happening the way it is, or why I possibly want to murder this newscaster, other than the fact that I just don't like his face.
Right. The situation with society and stuff actually would have happened before you went under. It's not new information to you.
Well, I wouldn't really be paying attention to any of that because I was on murder duty, to be honest. Joel doesn't watch TV. She has an investigation
Well, and you're
board.
young,
She stares at.
so it would have happened when you were like 13 or 14. So for all practical purposes, it's almost like normal to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you're only 17.
Yup.
So
Don't keep up with that pop culture shit.
yeah. And just to put it out there, because I was hit with this sudden inconsistency issue in your friendship with Sasha, his being a wayfinder. We'll have to find a reason that he keeps that particular thing secret from you. Not sure why. Maybe because of its randomness nature. He didn't want to expose you to something, but you don't have that available to you to get sneaky from one place to another, shortcut wise, like that. Doorways. Kennedy would be a doorways guy because that's what he was doing when he discovered it. And your parents were the only other ones, and they also worked in that same field. All part of the same big thing that all happened at that same time. That maybe we will uncover at some point. So, okay, well, cool. Well, then you did all that work for me, and you're planning on going and seeing Dr. Kennedy then?
Yep. I'm gonna go check him out. See if he can tell me a little bit about this newscaster, man. He's the most famous person. I don't know, but I know. So here we come.
Secret Squirrel meta. You remember why? I mean, Erica remembers why you have a death wish on the newscaster, right?
Right. It's the kitty cat lady. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, all right, carry on.
She saved me in an alleyway.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that you
My
were cool with that.
savior.
Okay. Sometimes I forget things, right? And then
right. I did miss the mummy. I didn't get to hang out with the mummy man very long.
Right.
Just so you know. Anyway.
Simple. Right. I had to think about it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mummy man.
Dr. Kennedy, do you have a new facility now with this increased funding, or did you improve your previous location?
Well, we operated on campus for several years before we got the bulk of the federal grants. And of course, after that, we were able to purchase several floors in a high rise in Manhattan, of course. Most of our work is done in that laboratory. Of course, I still keep my home laboratory in top shape.
The lab is in the high rise.
Fancy.
We have a thing for towers here.
I like that.
He likes feeling tall and powerful.
How many does your lab take up? An entire floor, multiple floors, and how high up?
We have some administrative offices, of course, several different smaller laboratories, the largest, of course, of which contains several of the more complicated machinery, uh, as well as some cryo facilities, and of course, my office on the top floor.
So how many floors total?
My portion of the building, the top
Yeah.
4.
Top 4. And just out of curiosity, how many are in the high rise?
I think it was 52.
Nice. If you're looking for office space in New York, I hear now is a good time to get it. Apparently, a whole bunch of those big, tall buildings that are in New York are like half empty. Something I read in the news here the other day. Excellent. Okay. I can't hear you. Okay.
Jimmy's a Dr. K murder apartments. It was good. It got me tickled.
That
Sorry.
is something. All right. Yeah.
Feeling about that.
Then, Joel, what do you do? The scene is yours.
Well, Joel is like bebopping down the street trying to find this address. Would Sasha have the murder apartment address, Dr. K? Is that something Sasha would have on his persons? Or what would his address be?
Sasha would probably have the laboratory in the brownstone that we are familiar with from our previous versions of these characters.
Okay. Would you be currently at that location? Joel came.
For the sake of storytelling, let's say yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you just see 17-year-old Joel be popping down the street, big old blonde curly hair. Can I just waltz up to the front door? Is there like guards or?
Yeah, those are like meta questions, Joel. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm gonna walk up to the door.
Don't ask him if you can. Tell me if you're going to or not.
I'm walking up to the damn door. I'm looking for guards. Are there guards or anybody here?
No, of course it is locked.
How big is the glass? Curtis, is this street particularly busy or is it rather quiet?
It's a very nice brownstone neighborhood. So it's, the buildings, the homes are right next to each other, attached most. And there's, reasonable foot traffic. There's more foot traffic than in previous versions just because there's just more people and stuff. Things are different.
Well, I have a trusty, dusty handgun in the back of my jeans that I'm going to pull out. I'm going to try and bust that glass open to get in and not make a scene as best as possible. That is my plan. I've been in the underground.
Explain.
Is what you do.
All right. Explain that thought process to me.
I want in the building.
Let me ask you this.
Normal.
Because I'll let you tell me. Are you doing this at night or is this daytime?
It's a sun setting. It's an in between. Twilight is rising. It's a beautiful, wonderful day. Totally thinking. It's like dark, and like if the sun is setting and there's a shadow in front of the building.
Yes.
You know how that happens when you light a building from if you personally stick a light behind a building. So it's like shadowy on the front of the building, but there's light to the sides. It's like after hours, quote unquote, but like right before everybody gets home.
Right. There are a couple of old people out walking dogs. And so tell me why you're going to bust a window out with your gun and not ring the doorbell.
Because I don't necessarily want to talk to Ernie. I want to rifle through his shit.
Okay.
That's more the point. I like information. I don't like people so much. Not a people-y kind of person.
All right, so we'll say 7 p.m. East Coast, just being arbitrary. I don't know what the time is like in September. Almost October. It's probably getting actually darker. We'll say 6 p.m. Not necessarily dinner time in Manhattan in current situations, but what are you doing at 6 o'clock, Dr. Kennedy? Are you at home?
It would depend on the day.
What day is it, Joel? What day did you decide to go do this?
Tuesday.
Breaking and entering. Huh?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
At about 6 p.m.
Yes.
You know, I might actually not be home.
Oh, perfect. Love that.
Which, of course, means that the house is fully armed and alarmed.
Okay, maybe not so perfect.
Joel, do you want to observe or, let's see, perceive or reason your way to discovery of an alarm system, or are we going with the previously stated?
Previously stated, I'm not paying attention. I just want in the door. Just boop, 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 crash.
Oh, that door is not opening either.
Can I break the window? Or is it like
it's
shit?
like I mean, I guess you are small. It's like a foot wide.
Okay.
It's like a tall, thin, like beautiful stained glass design.
I'm about to wreck it.
That's like a foot wide and like 4 feet tall, like in the middle of the 8-foot door.
Oh, nice. Is it just regular glass?
I mean, it's like real heavy duty, like handcrafted stained glass.
Big pieces of glass, or is it lots of detail?
Oh, lots of detail. So there's a really strong iron framework for the design as well.
Making life difficult, aren't you, Ernie? Already.
Let's just have
listen. This is just my taste.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point. I'll give it to you.
You already knew this, Joel. Well, Joel didn't, but Erica knew. If I said, all right, Erica, explain to me Dr. Kennedy's alarm system, you would have come up with probably worse.
It's a toothpick.
If I had asked you before you had decided to break into it, I'll put that little caveat on it. Let's have you act under pressure.
Okay.
Let's see how cool you are, and we'll go from there.
I like to think I'm super not cool, apparently.
You are super not cool.
I'm super not cool at all. Okay. What's going to happen to me now?
Okay, well, that then is going to give us several justifications. You are going to break through the glass. You're going to do that. You are also going to trigger what I can assume is a silent alarm. Tell me if I'm wrong. And
oh no, it's loud as fuck.
Oh, okay.
Oh, great.
Yes, several old people with dogs stop and turn and look. And you also cut the shit out of your hand. Just take a wound.
All right. I have a cut hand. Cut hand.
So it's bleeding. Since the rules are like 4 wounds could kill you, well, could get you close to death. Yeah, it's a nice little gash.
It's nice.
And yeah, the alarm starts blaring. Now what do you do?
Joel, you see Joel just kind of like fumble for a minute and go, oh fuck, Jesus Christ, that fucking hurts. Okay, here we go. Just like blinking a little bit, like looking around, like, holy fuck, that's fucking loud. And
there are also really bright spotlights directly in your eyes.
Dope. So then just dropping the head after the light, it's like, okay, all right. Drops head to the floor. And then I always wear a flannel or some sort of like overshirt. So I'm probably going to take that off just to wrap my hand with the sleeve of it to try and not get blood actually everywhere.
Right.
And also kind of hold some in. So I don't
And so you're
have
going
an
in.
issue. Right. Yeah, I'm still going in.
Okay.
And just, can I have like a general layout of what I see from my slightly shaded view?
Yeah, and I'm gonna let Dr. Kennedy give you some walls. But just because this occurred to me, and because Kennedy is a scientist and a bit of a nerd, I think this is a possibility. I'm sure that you have some sort of alert system. I mean, it is 89, almost 1990. There is cellular technology, although it's not quite to the performance that we know it today. But that sort of technology does exist. I can't remember exactly what sort of things we actually had back then in regards to alarms and whatnot. But I know that you will get a phone call from the alarm company. We'll definitely call you and tell you that your alarm has been going off or is going off, and that it's where the breaking entry is. But I think that being you, the big science guy and ahead of the curve, probably already get some sort of notification and may even have an ability to communicate back to the house to engage with said intruders. Maybe not. I just come up with that. So I will let you sort of guide Joel through your house.
So, like I'm not 100% sure that you fully understand how the glass at the side of the door works here. Like it's real heavy duty, thick stuff. Like you use the butt of your gun there, you're gonna be able to pop like one small like section out of it.
Oh.
Like, and it's all heavy duty iron bars holding all of these pieces in place. Like you're gonna be there like bashing pieces of glass in for 20 minutes while this alarm is going off and blaring and strobe lighting in your face. And so then you're going to hear my voice over the intercom. Hello, hi. Look up and to the left.
I absolutely do not. I just keep smacking it.
Young lady.
Nope.
Fellow.
Still
person.
Smacking.
Young person. Yes. Okay. You know that costs thousands of dollars. Fine.
You just see a big old fuck you still smacking it.
Well, you feel free to continue. My private security was alerted 3 minutes ago when you walked up to the door. And local authorities, of course, when the alarm started going off, and of course now. So the private security will be with you shortly. Enjoy that. I have a feeling they won't be very pleasant to you. Have a good evening.
Are any of the pieces big enough that while you're doing this, I can just slip my hand in and get the door unlocked? Like,
it's
I'm 5'11".
literally barred by 3-inch steel in 3 separate places when I'm not there.
Oh my god! I still have the axe. Do I, Curtis? I want the axe from down below. I have kept on to the axe. If nothing else, I'm taking the axe to the fucking bars.
All right.
Disc X X X.
You didn't bring the axe because it's a battle axe. It's as long as your leg.
You're no fun, Curtis.
And it weighs like 50 or 60 pounds, and it is just not good for B&Es. And I would assume your initial intent was stealth.
Not always. No way.
I mean, now if you want to say, no, I was going to go balls in with the battle axe, I'll let you do that, and you can have it, and you can be chopping at it as his security team arrives, which is what's about to happen. But I'm going to let you respond to Dr. Kennedy if you want to.
Oh, the only response he got was the flip off when he was talking about doing hugs, but that is thousands of dollars. He gets flipped off. I probably at this point realizing I'm not going to get through the iron bars and at the idea of security coming to get me any minute, we'll probably sneak around a back way if I can at this point. We'll try to find another point of entry that's maybe not on the front street because Joel didn't think it totally through. She never does.
I love new players. When you looked for a security service, Dr. Kennedy, was expense a concern?
I mean, we're always reasonable with the expenditures, of course. We look into each company individually and check their certifications and look into their other clients and see what sorts that they deal with.
Would you be open to hiring a security company that perhaps used, I need to think of a name that people would call them without it sounding completely like racist. Supernatural people. Like, maybe they hire vampires.
Dean and Sam. Sorry.
Or, some sort of big brutish creature or Asgul. Or would you?
No, I'm not above using them myself, so why should I be opposed to anyone else?
Brilliant.
That's so security. That was pretty good.
Yeah, he would too.
Yes. That's hilarious. And I have the Henry D. Green commercial that plugs at the beginning when we do our starting soon thing. The you can hear a car coming, Joel, only because it sounds like it is driving fast, and it obviously has an engine. So you can hear it coming. I'll let you try to skirt around, right, to try to find. I believe Dr. Kennedy's brownstone is a connected, though, isn't it? Or do you actually have gap in between? I don't know enough.
No, no, I don't. Yeah, there's little gaps between them, but it's like 2 and 3 feet maybe on either side.
I can just
see
the
plenty.
Picture from the Cosby Show of the outside of their building, the house. They lived in a brownstone situation too, with the nice stoops and the trees and a doctor's neighborhood. Yeah. He was
really nice.
Doctor, dentist, and pudding, and that kind of stuff.
Sleeping pills. Like putting people to sleep. Yeah,
right. Anyways, I stray again. So yeah, where are you going, Joel? The car's coming.
Escape route's not great. It's a small opening. Uh, is there a certain like type of vehicle? Is it a big vehicle, a little vehicle?
I love that you're going to hang around to find out.
Yes.
This
Great. This would determine what Joel would do. Run if it's big and full of everybody in the world. Small if it's got maybe a handful of people. Probably stand and just
it
shoot
is
them.
a small black four-door sedan, like a sportier Mercedes or something. For the time, of course, they didn't look so sporty back then. But it was, it is a small but a four-door black sedan, obviously souped up a little bit from the sound of the engine, a little overloud, a little very fast, and it professionally comes screeching around the corner at the end of the block and then sort of just slides to a sideways stop in front of the house. You can interject your action at any point in real time.
I'm just slowly putting my gun behind my back, like I don't want to put this away yet, but I also don't want to show I have it.
Okay, the doors fly open,
Okay.
and a large man. You think by this time it's getting pretty dark, and with the shadows and stuff, you don't get a clear image of his face, but he just looks like a great big guy, kind of about the size of Blue.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a big boy.
Yeah, like 6 feet, 400 pounds, big dude, and gets out of the driver's side. The passenger side door flies open, and all you see is a mist dissipate outside the door, and I'm not gonna let you avoid this because you can't reflex against what you
because I
can't
deserve
see.
it.
So I want you to endure injury -2.
-2.
Yeah.
-2. Oh my God! What is
you
wrong
are
with
Oh
this?
dear.
What the hell is
dear.
wrong
It's like my
with this?
sheer presence is giving you a
I'm
-6 on every roll.
I am upset. I don't understand what's happening.
I can tell you what's happening.
You're making a really unpleasant series of decisions.
I'm just choosing poorly, and the dice are reflecting my bad choices.
Yes, they are exactly behaving.
You're getting exactly what you deserve.
What happens for me?
You are knocked out.
Nope. Seems about right.
I wasn't quite sure what. I was waiting to see exactly what was going to happen. But I'm going to get you and Dr. Kennedy together no matter what. And this actually works out perfectly.
All according to my plan.
Because society having changed it as it is and such, it is not out of the realm of possibility at all. In fact, it is quite the standard for this particular company that after they have acquired you, and shortly after, you don't see this, but for the audience at home, a second car will immediately pull up. They will load Joel in the first car, and away she goes. The second car is just two regular dudes who hang out for law enforcement, who will eventually arrive. They will also then inventory the damage, survey the house, that sort of stuff, make reports, and do all of the follow-up information for Dr. Kennedy. However, the cleanup crew takes Joel to the high-rise, to the lab, to Dr. Kennedy, where he has a room set up for just such things as a person or something that might need to be boxed away for a moment.
Just put me in a box. What's in the box?
Yeah. So, it could just be a padded room for all I know. Or I don't know, maybe he'll strap you to a chair. Dr. Kennedy, these guys are going to bring you Joel. What do you tell them to do with her? She's out cold. The big guy's got her slumped over his shoulder.
Take her to no, can't do interrogation room 1. Surgery's busy.
Oy.
Well, operating room 1 is busy. That's surgery, but operating room 2 we're currently using is operating room 2 will work actually.
Oh wait, hold on.
The slender of the two has fangs, and he just sort of hisses a laugh. And as they take Joel to the room, he says something. Oh, I like this guy. And 2-room, what you say? Operating room 2?
Operating room 2 is it's a standard sterile room. The walls are kind of this weird teal shade that's really light, but still seafoam, a little seafoam teal. Sure, let's go with
Ooh.
that. And it's just it makes you physically ill when you look at it, though. I don't know, it's a weird byproduct, but it makes it good for this particular room. And it's a standard surgical do either of you remember the description of the bed that was in the basement laboratory?
Was all the straps and
Yeah, there's one
needles.
of those in there.
Needles. There was lots of needles. I remember that.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, so they're going to strap you to that bed because that seems to be the obvious thing to do in there, unless it's occupied, which it wasn't. I don't think.
Yeah, no, that's why we chose. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's
Okay,
clear.
well,
That's why.
well, at first, it seemed like you were hesitating, and then I thought maybe you were putting her in there with something or somebody.
Well, we had been using it as storage, but we cleared it out. I just
Gotcha.
remembered.
All right, so Dr. Kennedy, they inform you that you have a secured Joel to the bed. They have acquired her information and given that to you. They pulled your wallet out, and then magical realism. So I get to.
They took my gun.
I make them more resourceful.
Does that mean they took my gun?
Oh, yes.
No.
Yeah.
What? No way. I can't believe they took your gun.
Not my gun.
Yeah, and just be lucky you don't have any bite marks.
Maybe.
I definitely would have left a negative Yelp review.
Ernie sucks. This place has terrible service.
Security, A+ security. Do not recommend.
They tend to take a bite.
All right, Joel, I'm going to let you with a very bad headache because he just ran up on you and just clobbered the snot out of you. I will say that they've wrapped your hand.
Oh, how kind of them to take care of my poor wounded hand.
Oh no, they just wrapped it in something.
Yeah, it's still
it
dripping.
Stabilized?
Actually, I'm probably going to have you clean that up later.
Yeah, it went pretty well, and yeah, you're strapped to this scary bed, and your head hurts, and you're kind of foggy as to what happened. And I assume at some point, I don't know how long he lets you hang, you'll get a chance to see Dr. Kennedy if that's how he wants to proceed.
Just kind of look around curiously at the walls, at the things that are lying around. Is there any boxes left in here since it was storage?
No,
Yeah, okay, no fun. So there's nothing to do but stare at walls and the
And
table and my
me.
toes.
Yes.
Great.
Well, Miss, I look at your ID. Watson, is it?
Joel just gives you the stupidest, biggest grin. Like, I totally meant to be here.
Is there something I can help you with?
Actually, yeah, there kind of is. For one, we could undo the ties. That would be great. We could start with that.
We definitely won't be starting with that. No.
All right, fine. It's gonna be difficult. That's on you. Anyways, one of my friends, Sasha. Sasha sound familiar? You know him?
I do.
I found your address in his book. So I came to pay you a little visit because I got some questions for you. Want to find out some information, but he didn't seem to be home particularly.
Didn't think of ringing the bell or leaving a note, having me call you, or
I figured you were one of those snooty rich people types, so you just kind of ignore the common folk.
Anyone that anyone that drops Sasha's name gets my attention.
Well, I guess you could say I like dramatic entrances then.
You like expensive entrances.
Wait, you think you're supposed to be rich and famous? What are you upset about a little bit of stained glass for?
What are your questions, Miss Watson?
What do you know about newscasters?
They're beginning to lean further and further away from objectivism when they do their reporting. It's disconcerting, to say the least.
What do you know about their extracurricular activities, I guess you should say?
Oh, they're deviants, a lot of them.
Like how?
Oh, weird sex things on islands with politicians, and it's I don't care for it myself.
Car. What do you know about maybe the buildings they work in?
Very little. I mean, I've been in several of them, of course, but mostly just to go to the actual studios.
How'd you get in?
An elevator.
Security?
Of course.
As bad as yours?
I feel like mine might not be all that bad.
Well, who's to say I didn't want to end up here eventually anyways? I mean, the whole point was I wanted to talk to you, and look, now we're here.
I planned it.
That is Joel's entire attitude about everything.
Curtis, what was your character's name in Lasers and Feelings again?
Slick McGill.
Yeah, there you go. Joel Slick McGill Watson.
I planned it.
I planned it. Definitely how this interaction is supposed to be going. Nailed it.
That's hilarious.
Huh.
Oh, sorry. Do you think that's funny? I thought it was great.
To your question, no, actually, significantly worse than my security.
Okay, we talking like a handful of bodyguards, like maybe a little sort of security check.
Well,
ID
I won't pretend as though I was casing the joint for the sort of raid that you seem to be planning. A handful of security guards, 2 armed, it seemed, anyway, in the general rotation. And that was just on the lobby level, of course. There's probably lots of security throughout the building as well.
Okay. And you've only ever been to the studio side of things? You never saw any like offices or
No,
talked to
they
anyone?
don't tend to let their guests into the offices. Well, except for Rupert's, of course, when he was working there.
Mm. It's just green room type areas, little hangout joints.
Oh yeah,
They have
of
those.
course. Full
Just
spread as well. Charcuterie.
I'm sorry, what?
Hmm?
A shark cootery? What?
What? You know, meats and cheeses on a board.
The fuck did you just say meats and cheeses? What was that?
Hmm.
Huh.
Pray tell.
Hmm.
Whilst I am answering these questions to the best of my ability, might I in turn ask at least one?
What?
Why?
Why what? Why you call them not a meat and cheese platter? Why you call them a charcuterie board for some reason? I
Why
don't
are
know.
you
Tell me.
why are you asking about certain newscasters from certain organizations in certain high-rise buildings?
Well, let's just say I have a feeling that I should go to one and do something naughty.
uh I might almost like you.
Almost. I'm a very lovable person, and I don't call meat and
Mm,
cheese platters a
a
charcuterie board.
very dear friend of mine made that stained glass display, so I'm actually quite angry at you right
Oh.
now. However, I happen to agree that you probably should do something of the like to, well, probably most of them. It's not particularly well known in my field, but well, the entire field that has developed out of my research is based on some truly magnificent but um, unpleasant experimentation.
I'm literally strapped to a table currently. Do you think I didn't have that figured out by now?
Fair enough. But as a result of that, the fact that uh, that what we see, what we're allowed to see of this illusion has been manipulated now that we know that the illusion exists. And therefore, we're still in an illusion of an illusion at this point. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That essentially they still don't see the great beyond of what is already beyond.
Uh, I suppose, in layman's terms.
So basically, what you're saying is the Dunder muffins that are outside see one half of what they're supposed to see because there's actually things like the Inferno and little side groups and people named Tom who are really fucking creepy, might I point out, and underworlds that are really not fun either. You have to go through a shithole to get to. But that's besides the point. The point is, I needed information that you had, and it sounds like you're kind of willing to maybe possibly help take some executive decisions against some executive people. And also, you seem like you maybe just maybe want to undo these fucking restraints from my wrists and my feet and my legs.
Oh, you were so close. Oh, you almost had it. You almost just hammer, nail right on the head. Almost just right up to that last point there.
Letting me go?
Well, not yet.
Well,
I'm not fully satisfied with your responses and the potential for you to not attempt to immediately try to strangle me to death.
okay, with a what? You're getting stuck literally everything off of me.
I said
B, I suppose
try.
I said B. I mean, I guess I'll take the compliment and think that you asked like think that I could murder you with my bare hands. That's a wise decision on your part, actually.
Anyway.
Okay, so what do you need for me to get out of these restraints and us to strike up a lovely deal? I'd love to shake your hand, but there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, I could probably fix that up for you here in a moment.
Great. What
I
else do
am
you
a
want?
doctor, of course. Uh, Well, you distracted me, actually, so I forgot what I was going to ask of you. So I guess I'll let you go for the moment. All right. I'm going to need your help as well, though.
With what?
And I pull out my tape recorder and I hit the stop button.
The fucking tape recorder. Oh god. Joel just looks at it and looks back up at you like, for real?
I need a new tape and I need you to answer some more questions about I heard Inferno, the underworld, someone named Tom. I have a lot of questions and I'm going to need you to answer them.
Can you untie me first and give me a cup of coffee or some shit? Make it nice and
yeah.
homey up in here?
Absolutely, yes.
Dr. Kennedy, how many other high-profile doctors do you have working for you?
Doctors, we had a team of 3 that make up the team that's directly under me, and of course each one of them has a staff of their own of anywhere from 3 to 5.
All right, here comes a smidge of an additional bit of a twist, and maybe a scene, maybe our cliffhanger. You have one of your doctors. You don't remember his name, but you know that he's one of your surgeons. He's one of your more skilled surgeons, but he is also the surgeon that you have who is seemingly lacks ethics and will do certain things that you might need done that maybe another surgeon wouldn't do. This is the current version of the doctor. He hasn't really been named to this point. You don't know a whole lot about his private life, and maybe we'll come up with his just Joe Smith name. It's not really important, but in the comings and goings of the business of the day-to-day at that facility, for one reason or another, he knocks on the door to operating room 2.
Oh shit.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
do you have a moment?
I suppose.
Oh, for real? You're gonna leave me here tied down to the damn table?
Yes. Be quiet. Doctor, what do you need?
Considering his level and occupation, he will feel free to enter the room.
Yeah, of course.
And he comes in, and this is where I take my cinematic moment before he starts speaking whatever it is that he's going to start speaking at. The intent is not, however, he walks in and looks at Joel as he starts telling you about some issue with one of the cryo machines or whatever. I'm gonna have a fun making this map. I made Joel's house. I'm making everybody's maps, so I'm gonna have to do the lab. Joel, I want you to see through the illusion.
Ooh. Do you think I actually could roll something for once
Yes.
and not fail
You can.
horribly and
Well,
miserably?
no, I thought you meant like make a move. You can pull a move anytime.
Oh, I got no moves. Not really. I'm just kind of in this for the ride at this point. I already screwed Pooch. I figured that out.
There's always the standard player moves. Those are all available to you as well.
No,
I only
it's okay.
make you roll them because you guys don't ever ask.
I'll use this standard. Oh, hey, that's not so bad. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Do what?
I have no other standard move.
And you succeeded.
I will take that one. Thank you. Final answer, Alex.
Now, just as a refresher, I know I've mentioned this before, but this is kind of like a little house rules tweak on the see-through illusion, only because only my warped interpretation of it, that I handle it two different ways, depending on whether you request to see through the illusion, as in like you are going to make an intent to do that, something that I allow you to do, as opposed to me wanting to see
breaking something
if you see it. And I guess since I wanted you to see it, I didn't really have to do that, because he is more than willing to reveal himself to you and you alone. He doesn't do this to Dr. Kennedy, but that glorious visage that we all remember of the flayed face is all you get to see. He doesn't do the whole full body thing, but he looks at you and reveals this horror of a face. And you hear in your head, "Where is my doll?"
Maybe in your toy chest where you left it.
"Where is my Blythe?"
Beats me.
Yes, the cryo chamber, cryo vat 5 Omega.
Get some vitamin D while you're nervous.
is down. Would you like me to handle that?
You're asking me if I want my chief surgeon to handle basic maintenance. No, I would rather you refer them to maintenance.
Of course, you're right. I don't know what came over me.
You're excused.
New subject. Goodbye, doctor.
Bye, ugly. We'll see you later.
He's incredibly talented, but he's a little creepy.
So you're telling me you don't see his fucked up face at all, or know what he does in his spare time, apparently, when he's not here doing whatever you ask him to do?
Well, given the things that I ask him to do, like
he's not terribly ugly. He probably looks like Grand Moff Tarkin from Star Wars. Kind of old.
His neck's a bit long, overly wrinkled.
But I see his real fucked up face. Dude's ugly.
Do you?
I suppose his nose is a bit large as well.
That is not what we're getting at here. Wow, you really... Woo, I am very surprised that you were... This is very surprising. You really don't know what he is or what he does.
That would make it make quite a bit more sense, wouldn't it? He's very willing. Interesting.
He likes little girls too.
Oh. So he's into the island things as well. That's disappointing.
A little more fucked up, but same principle, I suppose. Anyway, from what I've gathered from a certain someone I know.
I'll get your restraints, by the way.
Thank you. Jesus.
You letting her go?
Yeah.
Oh, I was hoping you'd keep her captive for a while.
I'm not going anywhere. I just get up and stretch a little bit. Sit on the table, still just, oh, so much better.
I could have made it an inversion table if you wanted to stretch your back a little bit.
Oh my God, there is something wrong with you too. Jesus Christ. Okay, so you wanted to know more. I have more to give. You have more to give me. What kind of deal can we work out? Is it Ernest or is it Ernie or is it
Sasha
Arnold?
always called me Ernie. It was endearing. You may call me Doctor.
Okay, Doc. Okay.
I suppose that will work as well.
It's gonna have to. So I help you help me? Sound like a deal?
I believe I am amenable to that.
I don't know what that means. I literally do not know what that means. You've got two smaller words.
No.
Great. Actually, no, I'm gonna have to carry a fucking dictionary in my backpack. That's gonna be real great. I'll keep it next to my grenades.
I'm just gonna kind of let.
I would assume that this conversation.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fade out with this sort of weird conversation going on between you two. Thanks, Chris. I love you. Love having you here. Good night, sweet dreams, and we love you too.
Good night,
sweet dreams,
and we
and we love
love you. We love you, Chris.